Okay, so this history professor on C-SPAN 2, she's reading, Angela Zombeck is her name. She is reading about the Civil War era press and how men in that era were taking out personal ads in the newspapers, which I didn't know they had newspapers back then, but apparently they did. She said they didn't care if they were married or not. She said that if they were married, they were taking out the personal ads for love. And she said if they were not married, they were taking out the personal ads for love. And she said at that time, they would actually post their full name, address, and where they wanted to be met at. But she was saying something about a tongue-in-cheek thing related to nobody even reading the newspapers at that time. If you think about it, the Civil War. But people were reading propaganda, though, because, that's something that's always been used. Or, they always talk about the government and their little leaflets that are dropped. Now we learned that both, countries just do that. Drop leaflets, so they could be blaming another country for doing it when it's their own self that's doing it and dropping it on their people. They could easily blame another country for that. But I just found this fascinating because, I'm thinking of the Civil War era as like Scarlett O'Hara, Rhett Butler. They were riding around on horses, buggies, and carriages. Now, one of the early historians, because today must be Educational Day, and so they were talking about how they said, for example, the fastest speed of like a Trans-Western Union message was at a train at one time, 35 miles an hour, a steam engine locomotive. They said that's the fastest that it would go, that they could carry the message, when they didn't have telephones and things like that. That was the fastest that the message could go. But this dating thing, this is new. I hadn't heard that before, but they said people were using the newspaper. Men primarily were trying to seek a partner for love in the Civil War era, trying to hook up with a woman. Oh my gosh, this information that comes out never ceases to amaze me, related to related to the history of a man wanting to be with a woman. And so they were saying at that time that primarily, there was a lot of people who were wanting a monogamous relationship, because that's what was being promoted at the time, was monogamous relationships. But some wanted to cheat, though.